Hi, general psychology students. Well, you have finished your Unit 3 exam and your ethics exam, so you only have one exam left in the class, and it's going to cover the chapters on states of consciousness, lifespan, human growth and development, and social psychology. To me, these are some of the most interesting topics, so we sort of save the best to last. Although I say that, I love the psychological disorders and personalities, so much fun too, and so these aren't, there's a lot of good stuff in here. So let's get right to the states of consciousness. This is chapter 4 that we're going to start to cover in this video. So I want to begin by asking the question, what is consciousness? What does it mean to be conscious? So consciousness has to do with our awareness of both our internal stimuli, so our thoughts, our feelings, how hungry we are, how much pain we're in, are we tired, and external stimuli, so what's going on around us, who are the people around us, the things that are around us. And so our awareness of internal and external stimuli, that's our consciousness. And your book is going to talk about higher level consciousness, which is going to happen when we're performing any kind of a task, whether it's physical or a writing assignment or anything like that. You're really aware of what's going on around you. You're really aware of what you're thinking and feeling. You're really aware of both your internal and external stimuli. And you have to be in order to perform well. Now, there are lower levels of consciousness. Those you can use, it's sort of when you go into what I like to call automatic pilot. So if you type really fast and you're doing that, kind of your mind is wandering as you're doing it. For me, when I do the dishes, it's a lower level of consciousness oftentimes. I'm thinking about something that has nothing to do with the dishes. I'm sort of on automatic pilot. Altered states of consciousness, it can happen through hypnosis, or if you're really, really tired, or if you go into one of those sensory deprivation tanks. Also, of course, certain drugs will give you altered states of consciousness. Subconscious is when we're sleeping or dreaming. So we're not even aware of what's going on outside or inside of us at that time. And no awareness is going to happen when, like, you're under anesthesia, you lose blocks of time, you didn't even know what happened. So those are the different states or levels of consciousness. Okay. The next part of your book talks about the circadian rhythms. And circadian rhythms, it's a biological, or they are biological processes that occur repeatedly in approximately a 24-hour cycle. So it's our sleep and wake cycle. And if you're like most people who are awake during the day and sleep at night, then your body temperature is going to be its highest in the afternoon and its lowest between 2 and 5 in the morning. And so the circadian rhythm is this 24-hour cycle of sleep and awake with your body temperature going up and down. Now, if you do certain things, you can play with your circadian rhythm. And when you do so, it makes it much harder to sleep when you're tired. You'll have a hard time sleeping and you'll have a hard time being awake. So some examples of problems with the circadian rhythm has to do with jet lag. Have you ever flown to another country or a place where the time zone is much different than ours? So when I went to London, I think they were 6 or 7 hours ahead of us. And so I think I left on a flight that left at midnight from the US, and I think the flight was 6 hours. So I got there at noon, but to my body, it seemed like it was 6 in the morning. Even though I slept on the plane, showing up at a place where it's afternoon, when to my body, it feels like it should be early in the morning, it just made me feel like tired and off. And it just took a day before I felt like myself again. So it played with my circadian rhythm. It played with my day-night cycle. Rotating shift work can do the same thing. So now if you're used to working the graveyard shift and you always work the graveyard shift, it won't necessarily cause a problem. It's like your days will be nights and your days will be other people's nights and your nights will be other people's days, but it stays the same. The issue can come if it rotates. So like one week you're working the graveyard shift, and the next week you have off, so you're up with your family, and then the next week you work during the day. That can be really hard on people. It messes with their circadian rhythms, and after a while of doing that, oftentimes those people end up with sleep problems. It becomes difficult for them to sleep they don't fall asleep easily when they go to bed, and they have a hard time waking up. Another thing that can happen due to lack of sunlight, we call it seasonal affective disorder. So certain areas like Alaska, where there are certain seasons where it's only light outside, like 2 or 3 hours all day long. Also, I've heard of people talk about Seattle because it can rain for days and days on end. And some people will have a problem. They'll actually feel anxious and depressed. We call it seasonal affective disorder. For short, the acronym is SAD. Pretty apropos, right? This is just talking about your body temperature with the circadian rhythm and how it changes. People who have SAD, sometimes they're going to write or sit or read in front of what we call these SAD lights. It's kind of funny, in this picture they show that it's sunny outside. If it was sunny outside, you just go outside. But if you're in an area where there isn't sunlight and it's raining a lot, then sitting in front of a SAD light can be very, very helpful to getting people to not have the problems with SAD, the seasonal affective disorder. All right, how much sleep do you need? Well, it depends upon your age. So when you're first born, at the beginning, you need about 15 hours of sleep on average. You're going to be sleeping a lot because that brain is developing all those wirings, all those connections. And anytime you're developing a lot, it's almost like you're running miles. Your body then needs to rest and restore more. So we find that infants need a lot of sleep, then you'll need less sleep, the older you get. And then right around the teenage years, well, this is showing it's still going down. Some books will say how around the teenage years, you almost need more sleep again. There's so many hormonal changes that you almost need even more. Then it keeps going. You need less and less as you get older. And real senior citizens, people that are in their 70s and 80s, some of the textbooks will say that at that point, oftentimes, you can get by on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. For most adults, though, we're going to need about 8 hours of sleep. Now, not everyone needs 8 hours of sleep. So I know there's one faculty member who says, saying we all need 8 hours of sleep is saying like everyone needs a size 8 shoe. And so there's some variation among people, between people. And so you'll know yourself best, and you know how much sleep you need to operate well. But if you do not get enough sleep, however much you need, oftentimes you're going to be irritable. You're going to be tired. It's going to be hard to concentrate, hard to read, hard to follow a complex video, like you're watching TED Talk and you can't follow what they're saying. You're going to get sick more easily. Your body's going to have a harder time fighting off infection, and you're going to have a slower response time. So you're going to not drive very well, or operate heavy machinery well. It's not going to be good if you're doing some kind of like baseball or basketball, any kind of an athletic task. Your response times are going to be slower. So sleep deprivation is not something that we want to do. I can't tell you how many times I pulled an all-nighter to write a paper. And yeah, that might have been fine because that paper got done. But the next day, I couldn't pay attention in class. I couldn't write any other papers. And really, staying up all night the night before an exam is a bad idea, because right when you're taking the exam, you're going to have impaired concentration, irritability, and it's going to be harder for you to, slower response times. It's going to be harder for you to answer the questions. So not a good strategy. Now, what happens to people who are chronically sleep deprived? These are people who for like several years only get 5 or 6 hours of sleep, all kinds of problems. So we can get weight gain and obesity. In fact, one study that I was reading was saying that among people who got fewer than 6 hours of sleep, there was a significant increase in their BMI, their body mass index, indicating that they're overweight or obese. It's been tied to type 2 diabetes. So if you're chronically not getting enough sleep, you increase the risk of your getting type 2 diabetes. Heart disease is increased, hypertension, some mood disorders like depression and anxiety. And if you routinely get less than 5 hours per night of sleep, one study showed that you lower your life expectancy by 15%. Now, I don't want to scare you too much. If you have a brand new baby, you're going to be sleep deprived for the first couple months. And it's not ideal, but people can handle that. Sometimes when people are going to college, especially if they have little kids and they're working, they can go through a year or a semester where they're chronically fatigued, and they might be okay, but you certainly don't want to keep this going on for years and years or more than a year. Okay, so at this point, I'd like you to stop this video and watch the Nova Science Dreams video. It's a great video that I think you're going to enjoy. And after that, we'll pick up on another video of me talking. All right. If you have any questions, please email me, maryd@cameron.edu. All right.